let us introduce, guys, our keynote speaker for today's sharing session. They are William and Daniel. Okay, virtual applause. Okay. So, thank you for your time, Daniel and William. Can you please tell me a little about your and your current project?
So Daniel and I started wanting to save the orangutans of Borneo and Sumatra all the way back in 2006 or 2007. And we started fundraising in our local communities. We started doing small, triathlons in our school, and we tried writing letters to celebrities. And since then, our quest has just snowballed into visiting your country in 2008 to see the orangutans in the wild. And from that amazing experience, we came back and wanted to write a kid's picture book so that we could share our experiences and be able to share your country and your stories with your environment to a lot of other students that may not have that opportunity. And we realized that we had an opportunity for an amazing educational tool as we were writing it. And since then, we've been able to do many, many school talks and presentations to share the message of the orangutans, but also to inspire students around the world to know and empower them so that they know that they can make a difference in their local communities and around the world.
Okay, William, can you tell me a little more about do you work or do you study?
So currently I'm studying at the Brisbane Conservatorium of Music, doing a Bachelor of Creative Music Technology. And it's been amazing to explore music creativity in this new realm for this first year. It's been amazing.
In Brisbane University, am I right?
Yeah, so Griffith University at the Brisbane.
Oh, Griffith.
Griffith, yeah.
Is there any correlation between your project and your current study?
Well, I hope to be able to use music in a way to inspire people in my community as well as, and, if I become successful, to be able to use music as a platform to share messages to make wider communities be able to hear them and become aware of them.
Okay, great story from both of you anyway. Now you are in Queensland, Australia, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, how the current situation about the pandemic there? Is there okay or?
Queensland's been really, really good at managing the pandemic. I think Australia as a nation has really pulled together and has really cracked down on securing local outbreaks to a point where only a week ago we had 0 new cases for about 3 or 4 days. There's been one small outbreak in Adelaide in South Australia now, but otherwise the response has been, I couldn't be prouder of our government at the moment.
Okay, so now without further ado, we are going to have a Q&A session with our beloved students. They want to know you more deeply about your project and about your personal life, maybe. They are so interested with your, transformative action that you did in our country. Anyway, congratulations that you are already achieved. I know it is a reward from the Australian government or Australian authorities. We win just mentioned earlier this day that both of you just got Queensland Young Australian of the Year for 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, congratulations. Can you tell me a little bit about this award?
This award is a very big award in Australia. It has been going for 60 years, and the national award is always held at Canberra, at our capital, on Saturday in January, and everybody watches the award, so it's a very big award here.
Such an inspiration story that we can learn from William and Daniel. Yeah, guys. There are some questions. Let me read it to you. This question comes from Evan Christian Pratama from 12 students. He asked about what is your biggest motivation to save orang utan? Daniel and William.
I feel like our biggest motivation was being inspired by one of Australia's great heroes, the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin. And being inspired by his documentaries and seeing his environmental work truly inspired us from the beginning to want to follow in his footsteps. Yeah, just being inspired by the support of our community as well has also been a massive motivator to know that the people that we're helping and the people that we're talking with are so invested in the cause alongside us. Those would be the two main reasons for our motivation and why we've been able to continue on our quest for so long.
He is Steve Irwin, right? Am I right?
Yeah, that one. They were more of a conservationist, and he did a lot of documentaries, and the one on the orangutan we watched over and over again.
He just passed away.
Yeah, he passed away in 2006. Yeah, he passed away in 2006, and it was after we saw his passing on the news that Daniel actually turned to our family and asked us who's going to save the orangutans now, for which he responded, why can't I? And that was the start of our quest.
There is a question from Isandra Rio. Yes, go ahead, Isandra Rio. Silakan, Isandra.
What are they doing with the orangutans?
So currently, Daniel and I have been fundraising with an Australian charity called the Orangutan Project, and they have a really good. They have a safeguard program that they have in place, which hires local rangers to protect the national parks of the orangutans, so that it protects the orangutans' home and their habitat, so that they have a safe place to live. It's an amazing program. It's very well regulated, and Daniel and I have been supporting it, as well as many others of their initiatives for many years.
Is it in Australian or in Kalimantan or Sumatera?
The charity...
The location of the captivity.
The location of the what, sorry?
The The
charity?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Orangutan Project is an Australian-based charity.
Oh, what is the foundation?
The foundation is called the Orangutan Project. It's based in Australia, but it works very, very heavily within Borneo and Sumatra on the field, working to save the orangutans. Yeah.
Good question, Isandra. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to ask how you can keep going and get a lot of attention from various countries. Is it? Thank you.
So the question was, how do we get attention from other countries? Currently, Daniel and I focus our efforts within Australian communities, as we feel that is where we have the most impact. But in small cases or certain situations, we have been able to reach out to some global celebrities. When they come to Australia, we hand them a copy of our books, which is, we got right here, it's the Tears in the Jungle books that Daniel and I have written. And we just send them a copy of the book, and we hope that they use their platforms online in order to spread the message of our cause and of the cause of the orangutans.
Oh, interesting. What is the title of the book?
Tears in the Jungle.
Oh, Tears in the Jungle.
I think the camera's
Did he?
but yeah.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Good. Interesting. Ada lagi yang mau bertanya? Evan Christian.
I want to ask, can we join to your project, or how to join in your project? Thank you.
That's very, very nice that you guys are wanting to get involved. So the best way I think Dan and I can recommend you guys to get involved with the orangutans is to do some research into if there's some care centres close by to you, and start getting involved in volunteer work. And other things that you could do is just do some fundraising within your schools, raising awareness in your communities about the threats and just spreading the word.
Get a conversation going about the orangutan.
Great. We are waiting for your project, Evan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Gita Eudia. I want to ask what factors that make you taking care of orangutan?
What factors that make you taking care of orangutan?
Why do we want to save the orangutans? Yeah. The orangutans, from the documentaries that we saw while we were kids, we were so inspired by how similar orangutans are to us. And that was only reinforced when we traveled to Borneo and saw the orangutans for ourselves. We were able to get so close to them, and we saw how similar we are to each other. On a scientific level, we shared 97% of our DNA, but even just in appearance, it's amazing to be so close to such a majestic animal. It just made us want to save them even more.
Where did you get involved first? In Kalimantan or in Sumatera?
In Borneo, Kalimantan, yes. And just to add on to that, it was near Kumai, near Camp Leakey, and we travelled along Sonia River in that area, the main area in which we saw most of our orangutans.
Kumai is Camp Leakey in central Borneo. Putra.
Yes.
It's in central Borneo. Yeah. It's Tanjung Puting National Park. Maybe anak-anak tahu Tanjung Puting, Taman Nasional Tanjung Puting. So Kumai, Camp Leakey is in there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not local people here. Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Since when did they start a project?
When did we start the project? We started wanting to save the orangutans since 2006. So 14 years ago. We travelled to Borneo for the first time to see the orangutans in the wild in 2008. And we published the first book, Tears in the Jungle, in 2011 in November. And since then, we've been very diligently working on the quest, and it's just snowballed into the massive movement that we see today, evolving into a second one in
2007, am I right?
2008 was the trip to Borneo.
And 2007 was the launch of the Tears in the Jungle books.
So 2006 was when we started fundraising. 2008 was when we went to Borneo, and 2011 was when the first book was published.
Why don't you choose another animal as your project?
The reason why we chose the orangutans over so many other animals that do still need our help.
Wait. Hold on.
Sure.
Okay, sure. You can continue.
Yeah. So the reason that we chose the orangutans over so many other animals that also need our help is that Daniel and I was watching those documentaries on the orangutans, but also we realized very early on that saving the orangutans means saving their habitat. And by saving their habitat, we're also saving so many other animals alongside the orangutans that live with them. So saving the orangutans actually saves so much more than just the orangutans. Our focus is just primarily on the orangutan.
Okay, Grabersa Geza. Okay, Grabersa Geza, silakan boleh unmute. Silakan Grabersa Geza.
What should we do to save orangutans, especially for us students?
As a student, what can we do to save the orangutan?
Yeah, you can talk about your friends and raise awareness about the orangutan. The orangutans are projected to only have 10 years left in the wild before they go extinct. So just to talk about it and let people know that the orangutans are in a bad situation and get more people to help, that would be fantastic.
True, these endangered animals, right?
Yeah, all endangered animals need conversation started around them. So every little bit helps.
Did you build a legal captive for orangutan both in Indonesia and Australia?
The orangutans, which are in captivity in Australia, are usually only in zoos, and they're used for orangutans that can't be released into the wild to educate the community about the orangutans. The care centres in the enclosures in Borneo are used to rehabilitate injured orangutans so that they can be released back into the wild once they're healthy.
Ya, jadi William and Daniel did not build an illegal captivity. There's
Yes,
so much regulation that they need to, like follow, right?
very much so. Yeah, so we help fundraise the people who have those regulations in place so that they have the money in order to build and improve their enclosures. As the orangutans are only in Borneo and Sumatra, and having those rehabilitation centres there allows them to be healed and returned in their habitat, which is amazing for the orangutans.
What can I do to protect orangutan habitat?
Okay.
So, yeah, it's okay. When you want to do something for the orangutans, similar to all the comments made before, to start a conversation, to raise some money and research about the orangutans so that you yourself are knowledgeable about their situation, so that when someone wants to come to you for information, you're prepared and you can actually share the situation of the orangutans so that more people know about their situation.
Okay. Is this orangutan captivity only in Australia, or do you have branches in other places or countries?
Our focus on our quest is the safeguarding of the orangutans in the wild. And because the orangutans are only found in the wild in Indonesia and Sumatra, that is where our efforts are very, very much focused 100% to securing the orangutans' habitat inside Borneo and Sumatra so that they have a safe place to live for the future. The other things that we support is programs like the Orangutan Project's adoption, where you can sponsor an orangutan, which allows for food and shelter and care to be provided. But yeah, all of our focus is very much directed towards Borneo and Sumatra, Indonesia and Malaysia.
How do you feel about feeding the orangutan?
Oh, how do we feel about feeding the orangutan? Yeah, so how do we feel about feeding the orangutan? So Daniel and I actually never fed an orangutan ourselves, but we did visit one of the feeding platforms that the carers go to, and that was an amazing experience. One of the rangers came through with a bunch of bananas over his back and a tub of milk that they just brought over. And as soon as the orangutans knew the carer was coming with food, they rushed over. It was an amazing experience to see how much that the orangutans just shoved all the bananas in their face. They tried carrying them off. They dipped their head in the milk to try and get as much as they could. It was amazing and hilarious to see them just play around with the food and just have a great time at the feeding platform.
Okay.
That was
Ada
a
lagi?
question actually.
Yeah, sure. We never saw that before. From Adrian Winata, 12th grade students. Who are the founding fathers of the project? Are there other community who involved?
So with our project of Tears in the Jungle, the book and the whole cause of us going to do school presentations is purely Daniel and I. We've got a lot of support from our parents along the way as well, who's been able to help us in areas that we weren't able to when we were really young. But it's been a very concerted family effort, and Daniel and I have worked tirelessly over the years in order to raise awareness and fundraise for the orangutans. We've also been in very close contact with, I guess you'd say, one of the forefathers of the orangutan project, the head of it, called Leif Cox. He's the president of the orangutan project and very much an expert on the field, and it's been great to work alongside him. But Tears in the Jungle has been one big family effort.
What is your goal in coming to Borneo and Sumatra only to save orangutans?
So our goal, the goal that we have for next year is a goal that we've set many years ago to raise a total of 1 million Australian dollars to go towards saving the orangutans and securing their habitat. And currently, just recently, we reached just over $900,000 that has been slowly donated over the years. So we're hoping that next year we can reach that goal. But overall, Daniel and I just want to see the orangutans be safe, and we want to see them not be endangered anymore so that future generations can see the beauty of the orangutans in the wild with no threat to their future or their life or their habitat. That's the dream.
Next year, 2021, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apart from orangutans, will there be other animals like the Sumatran tiger in the future?
Daniel and I have always loved the orangutans and have always wanted to see them safe. We love all of the different animals that are found within the Borneo and Sumatran jungles. And we love the opportunity that saving the orangutan's habitat also secures the habitat of all of these amazing animals. For example, if we save enough habitat in the Sumatran jungles for the Sumatran orangutans, that will also help secure the future of the Sumatran tigers as they live in the same jungles in very similar areas and also face very similar problems. So by saving one animal in the Bornean and Sumatran jungles, we save all of them.
Okay, one last question. Yang mau bertanya silakan. Oh ini, Laetitia Lumeri.
Okay, thank you. What's your biggest hurdle when doing this project?
Do you have any kind of obstacles?
Oh, obstacles! Oh, I love the attempt at English. The attempt for asking the questions in English is really nice to hear, but I understand that it's sometimes easier for the students to ask in Indonesian. So was there any obstacles? Yeah, I think there has been a few over the years. Sometimes you run into some technological problems, sometimes motivation things when we feel like fundraising is a bit slow or people aren't receiving the message. But throughout our entire quest, Daniel and I have always focused on the positives. We've always focused on those who do support us. We've focused on the work that we have achieved, and we keep looking forward towards the possibilities of what can happen in the future if we stay dedicated to the cause. And I think having that positive mindset allows you to overcome whatever obstacles come in your way, as it allows you to see what's possible for your own future.
What platform do you use?
We have our own website called Tears in the Jungle.
Oh, okay.
Just tearsinthejungle.com. But we also have a Facebook page as well that links towards the websites that keeps anyone who follows it quite up to date with what we run. And that's been great at getting the message out to a wider audience.
Overcome the
And Daniel
obstacles.
actually had one other comment he wanted to add on to that question too, if that's all right.
One obstacle that we had was we would write letters all over the world to celebrities, and quite often we won't get any response from anyone, but occasionally you will get one letter out of 1,000 back saying that they will help you, and that makes it all worthwhile. So the message is to keep going and be persistent, because you never know who is going to write back to you.
Sorry, you get money from other people, from other donors?
So not always money, but just support and endorsement, and then those people will then reach out to their networks and spread the message of the orangutans.
Can you tell us what was the most memorable experience for knowing orangutans?
Oh yeah, most memorable experience. I think Dan and I will have a separate experience as well. So I'll say mine, and then Daniel will say his, and you can translate individually if you want. So my favorite experience was from the first trip to Borneo, when I was extremely fortunate to be able to sit next to a 35-year-old female orangutan named Siswi. She came up onto the wharf one afternoon, and some of the guides had some berries for her to eat while she was there. And I calmly approached her and was able to sit down next to her. And you know, I was able to look at her hands and see that they were exactly the same as ours, and have a really, really close connection with her, speaking without word almost. It was a life-changing experience being so close.
What about you, Daniel?
My favorite experience was when we visited the care center. We were able to hold a couple of baby orangutans, and they were only 5 months old, and they were so cute, and they were hanging on to you like they were their mothers in the treetop. And it was amazing, but it was so sad because a lot of the babies were there because they lost their mothers. But they were in great care at the care center.
Did you really hold those 2 babies?
Yeah, so I was going to show photos while you translated it as well. So this is the photos from when we were there. And that was back in 2008. Now there's a lot more stringent regulations about contact with orangutans for visitors. But yeah, we were very, very fortunate, and it was an amazing experience. So there's the photos that you can reference as you're speaking to the class.
Sitting next to and holding a baby of orangutan.
Yes.
Nice. Last question. Our time is not really much enough. The last question from Francisca: what kinds of orangutans are there in Australia?
Well, Australia doesn't have any orangutans natively in the wild. We do have, there are 2 main different types of orangutans over in Indonesia and Malaysia. The Borneo orangutan has shorter brownish hair, and the Sumatran orangutan has the more distinctly long reddish hair. But the only orangutans which are in Australia are only in zoos, and they're very, very carefully looked after because they are evolved to survive within the Bornean rainforests. And so trying to live anywhere else would be very, very difficult for them.
Oke, terima kasih anak-anak untuk pertanyaannya. Thank you for answering my question from Naomi. Yes, you're welcome, Naomi. Okay, I think that's the end of our sharing session. We have so many information regarding to the conservation and the rehabilitation of orang utan. We are, like so ashamed that we are in Indonesia, we are in Kalimantan, but our foreign there, our neighbor in Australia, with our environment here. Jadi kita mendapatkan sebuah pembelajaran yang sangat bermakna bagi kita semua ya, sebagai orang Indonesia, sebagai orang Kalimantan. Ini orang luar saja itu sangat begitu menaruh perhatian yang sangat lebih untuk orang utan. Bagaimana dengan kita ya? Apa tindakan yang bisa kita lakukan ya? Tadi kita sudah belajar banyak hal, bagaimana apa yang dilakukan oleh Daniel and William. Sangat baik apa yang sudah mereka lakukan. Semoga ini menginspirasi kalian semua untuk bisa take action, untuk bisa langsung bertindak melakukan perubahan, ya, take action and be the agent of transformation in this world, ya. As we know.
Perfect. That's the best message that this class could take away, is to know that the actions that they take really do make a change, because it's the sum of all of our actions that makes change in the world. But perfect.
Good. By the way, thank you, William and Daniel. Thank you for your wonderful time to share with us, to give us so many lessons, life lesson. The moral values behind your project is outstanding. We are beyond grateful to have you here, Daniel and William, and we are hoping that you still in a positive mindset to bring an impact, a good impact, a huge impact, not only in Indonesia, but around the world as well. And we congratulate for so many achievements that you got. You are so incredible person. And Daniel, we pray that you will be able to continue your project as well as your postgraduate study, and you will achieve your dream. And by the way, if you don't mind, if you can visit to our school here in Makedonia, Mabang. This school is located in West Kalimantan. When you have a time to visit Kalimantan, feel free to come to our school. Yeah, we are in Kalimantan as well, but we are in West Kalimantan province.
Yeah.
So yeah, so close to Central Kalimantan. And we
if we find ourselves visiting Borneo again in the future, we'll be sure to visit it and say hello to all the students.
True. Sure. All right. We are looking forward to see you here.
It's been a great opportunity to speak with you guys and share our story and a little bit about Australia too.
Okay.
Okay.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great
William.
life, William, Daniel. Have a great life.
Thank you, Bu Ipin.
Lovely to see you again.
Yeah.
Hope that was everything you wanted that to be, with the talk with the students as well, because that was really good. They had some really good questions there.
It was really fun.
You are such an inspiration, you know. Okay. Say my hello to Penny and Rodney.
We will.
We will, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, bye.
Bye.